need power. Lights, heat, nothing. That's the advantage. That's what makes them stronger.
One of the things I enjoyed watching it is that these characters we know very little about, and it's just a little line here and there that fills in so much. When you're playing these characters, do you sit down and figure out their whole history, or do you enjoy that sort of negative exploration of these people?
No, I mean it's our job to connect, get our ducks in a row and connect it. Not that it has to come across in exposition or dialogue or whatever, but yeah, it's part of our process of putting it together to understanding who we are, where we are, and what we're doing.
But do you have
on any no
on any film?
No, I absolutely don't agree with you.
Fight.
As you would on, as you would, I suppose, as you would work on any character. I don't think, even though it's Planet of the Apes and it's a huge big production, and I don't think the process of acting or working doesn't change. I think you just approach it as the same as you would if you were, you would approach this the same way you'd approach if you're playing Hamlet. It's the same thing at the end of the day.
And I'm sorry. I have to say I love that about Matt, and it's something that I feel that Matt Reeves is very good at, is very restrained dialogue. He doesn't overwrite things, and he doesn't, even if there are a few sentences in the scene, he usually removes them in the editing. I like just having a few moments and letting just the character's behavior, I like watching that, especially in film. I mean, it's such a...
we didn't feel defined by having to exposition and having to explain who we are. I mean, it puts you in there and you just go with the story, and the story moves so quickly that it's like you catch up and you have some understanding of who these people are and where they're coming from, and you relate to them and you put your own imagination to work. And it's great not to be bound by hey, we have to make sure that you know who I am and where I've come from. It's a pretty understandable situation, and let's just go with the story.
So I wanted to ask, in the future when the Apes do take over, do you think they're going to love your performances in this, or are they going to be angry that the role didn't go to an ape actor?
I would hope that they would think that I'd got them right. I mean, I have played real life characters before, and had responses from the people I've played where they haven't been too happy about it. But I think I've fairly judged Caesar. He is a flawed character after all, but nevertheless, I think he's a very empathetic leader, and I think he would have been proud of me.
One of the great things about this world of these apes is that we're seeing their culture develop, and there's little things that they do throughout the film that is really neat to see. That's a very logical thing. The hand was one of those. Can you talk about how that developed?
Yeah, I mean, apes do have this, the respect that they show to each other is with supplication. It's called a supplication, and so they offer up their palm, and then the alpha strokes the top of the hand, and that's, that is absolutely what the way it works within a hierarchical group of apes. And we use that, as very much as a part of our storytelling, particularly between the relationship of Caesar and Koba, his cause célèbre ape who has been through horrendous times in a lab, because it means different. It means very different. You can do that in a million different ways. You can show respect and be not respectful by doing that at the same time.
I was going to ask if we could test it, but I feel I have to offend you first.
No, go on.
So tell me everything about Star Wars.
Okay.
I wonder if you could start off by telling me, what's your earliest memory of the Planet of the Apes franchise?
Well, as a kid, I had all the dolls. I had the tree house. I used to watch the TV series, and actually our producer, Dylan Clarke, his grandfather was involved in the TV series because he was he worked in television at Fox, I believe. And so that world was really important to my childhood. And I guess, to be honest, the thing I remember most vividly was in that first movie, that moment when the nets are thrown over the humans and you look up and you see the gorillas on horseback, and just feeling like that was the most terrifying but thrilling image. And from that point forward, I literally wanted to be an ape. I mean, I was so obsessed with that John Chambers makeup, and there was something about the way they looked, the way they were both primal but also intelligent. It was wild. It was really captivating.
It's interesting to hear you mention the TV show because this shares a lot of sort of DNA with that show. San Francisco setting, and you have the more human humans.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing about it is that what I was interested in doing was, I thought what was cool. Somebody once said to me, isn't it boring though that the end of this series because it's the '68 movie, right? It becomes Planet of the Apes. Isn't that not interesting? And I said, no, that's actually the best part because we know where it gets, but that's not the world this is. So how do we get there? And when a story is about the how instead of the what, it's about character. And the thing that was interesting to me was not doing a story about villains that were humans or villains that were apes, but about this one moment in time where it could have become something different, where it could have become Planet of the Humans and the Apes instead of what we know it becomes. And that meant sort of creating characters in which you had empathy for everyone, that you came to understand everybody's actions, and even if they did villainous things, that you understood where they were coming from, so that it was an anatomy of the violence within us, and also the anatomy of the good within us. And so I think that that's what's so exciting about Planet of the Apes, is the exploration of the human characters and the ape characters, and the humanity that exists in both the humans and the apes, and the animalistic qualities that's in both the humans and the apes.
How much easier is it doing your job when you have performance capture actors, so they're physically there as opposed to a tennis ball?
Huge difference. I mean, night and day. And when you're working with Andy and Terry, who are as good as it gets and who have pioneered this along with Peter Jackson and a lot of other guys, it's cream on the crop. It's that's where it's at.
There's also this fantastic social commentary blended with just some of the best special effects I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah, I really think that the effects that Weta has pulled off here, I think it's a high watermark for them and for effects in general. I think that these are some of the best effects that have ever been done, and a big part of that is, I mean, they redid their pipeline, and so the fur simulations, the detail that you're seeing on those apes, in terms of the moisture, the hair, it's something you've never seen before. But we also pushed really hard in another way, which was, I knew that what they had done at Rise was groundbreaking in terms of translating the emotion of the actors into the apes' faces. That was astonishing. And I wanted to take the photoreality and push Weta as far as they could possibly go by not shooting on the stage, by shooting in conditions that were really not friendly to mocap equipment. We went into the woods in Vancouver, we shot in the rain, we shot in the freezing cold, we shot in the mud, all of that sort of with the hope that when you saw natural light in real locations, that it would make the apes somehow seem more real, and it made it more of a challenge for Weta, but Weta was totally up for the challenge, and they were excited about it, and I think, and it's really not saying, I think anything controversial to say, these are the most realistic effects that have ever been done, and we did them in native 3D, and I think the effect of it is extraordinary. I think Weta's work is astonishing.
Is there a big level of trust? I mean, you obviously know that Weta's working on it and the special effects are going to be amazing, but is there a level of trust involved in, like, when this is done, I'm going to see an ape in front of me?
Yeah,
Big
of
time.
course. The whole thing, even the whole tone, the whole lighting, the whole
Everything.
feel, everything.
When we go up on the building there, Gary, and we're looking at, how many apes are going to be out here. It's going to be 100, 200, okay, 1,000,
Yeah.
And we're up there, of course, you trust that they're going to paint it in, that they're going to do it, and they're going to, if you build it, they'll come. I mean, you've got to give them that platform to put, the stuff around you. And you see, if you watched it last night, they have matched it, I mean, exactly, and added to the, to what we're doing, and the touching and the movement and the eye lines, and, and the muscles rippling when they touch each other, and the, and the hand with the little children. And, I mean, you had a big one with the
chimp?
with the little baby ape.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
and we're watching her do that day, and
No
with
baby
the touches
ape.
and the thing, and no baby. But you see it's there's no egg on anybody's face at all. It's
Right.
it's
Gotta go for it,
amazing.
yeah.
I mean, true craftsman.
What's the biggest change going from Rupert Wyatt to Matt Reeves?
They're both brilliant directors, and the great thing about what Matt has done is that he's not gone and sort of said, I'm going to put my stamp on this movie and do this. He absolutely loved what Rupert had done with Rise and wanted to celebrate that and take it on. And yes, to of course craft the journey his way, but it's not negating anything that was done. Both directors are brilliant actors-directors. They really want to find the truth of the scene. They want to discover the scene. They want to go in there and not necessarily have all the answers up front, but really take the time to unravel them. And Matt on this was just utterly wonderful against the pressures of shooting on such a huge production, allowing us actors to you know, ages before even setting up cameras or anything, just to have the time to rehearse and really work out the emotional content of a scene.
Oh my God.
We made contact! Military! They're already on their way!
Gigi, you have to go. Go? Where? This is my home.